Captain's Log, August 21st, 2026. Hello, I'm Captain Vile. Good on you, you've made it to Friday. I think I just got hurt. I did, just as I turned on the recording. Man of all times. That was a Solar Sands. What's that? Solar Sands notification from YouTube.com. I was gonna make a video on Solar Sands. I probably still will. He's made a video based off of Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, based on the things he made before Five Nights at Freddy's. And because Solar Sands because I watched him from when I was a kid. I think he's one of the first YouTubers I watched. He's undergone this interesting evolution from just like looking at weird, like poorly drawn DeviantArt stuff, and now he's like waxing poetic about I can't remember the specific thing, but he's talking about like art history and also just the concept of things being really big for his 1 million subscriber special, which was quite nice. I liked that. The specific title escapes me, but it's just a synonym for huge. But it's just an hour of him talking about like big artworks or just big things, big towers, buildings. It's pretty well done. I think they connect to each. Like he begins talking about a mile, and I think he ends talking. Oh, that's clever. It's taken saying it out loud for me to notice, but he begins talking about a mile and ends talking about one of the biggest megastructures in fiction. So it gets bigger as the thing goes along. How did I not realize that? Oh, that's irritating, but also fun that he did that. Oh. I wonder how much. I only realize that now because I say it out loud, and they always say that saying stuff out loud is the best way to catch mistakes. If you're writing something, don't just read it. Read it aloud, and then you'll be like, wait, no, I did an extra the. I made a typo. So I was hearing more astute than thinking, maybe. I mean, probably because some people don't have like a inner monologue. Excuse me, potentially. But I wanted to make a video just going over a brief history of him. Have that in the works. But there wasn't really like a point to it. It was really like he had a ending to his, a conclusion. I didn't have that for mine. It was just a look through his stuff. But oh well. Maybe later. So, what did you watch this week, Captain? Instead of going on a bit of a tangent because you just got a notification that some YouTuber made some video. Well, I went to the theater again, and I watched The End of Oak Street. And I'll talk about my theater experience a bit, because when I watched the Backrooms in theater, I was really irritated that no one knew how to put their eyes on the screen showing the movie and pay attention to what the characters were saying. And I walked out of it and went to the bathroom. And on my way there, people were like, so who was that in the chair? And it's like, oh my god, that didn't happen this time. That was nice. But what did happen was I got screwed by the concession stand, because I didn't get concessions the time I went to watch the Backrooms. I paid for the ticket, I sat down, and I just watched it, just not eating anything in silence. What are the kids saying? What Raw Dog did? I just Raw Dogs the film? That sounds wrong. Am I saying that wrong? I don't know. I get all the new slang everyone is saying, from Simi and my brother. So, yeah, sorry if I misuse them, whatever. But I decided, you know what? I'll get some snacks this time. I got popcorn, soda, and nachos. And I should not have gotten the nachos because the nachos sucked. But each individual item was $5, including the soda. $5 for soda. A medium Pepsi was $5. I don't know what kind of cryptid they have back there that they're milking to get this soda, because that is the only justification for it being $5. Alright, this wasn't like unlimited refills. No, they had the machine behind the counter and they filled it up and handed it to you. I mean, it was an alright Pepsi. It was refreshing from the salt and popcorn, but it's $5? And I shouldn't be that surprised, because it's a movie theater. They don't get their movies from the tickets, they don't get their money from the ticket, they get their money from the concession stand. So when I go to see Resident Evil, I will not make the mistake of buying nachos. I also didn't want to get a medium popcorn. I asked the guy how small the small was, and he said, oh yeah, we don't have a small, it's just medium and large. So I got the medium. I wanted small, because I was getting nachos. But fine. I don't think they're going to have small when I go in September to watch Resident Evil. But maybe. Nah, they won't. I'll still have to pay $10 for snacks, because I want to get my popcorn and soda, which is $10. I didn't even bring anything in, which you're kind of expected to do. I didn't have like a backpack, but like, I don't know, how can I, like, maybe if I had like if I bring like a jacket, because I'm going in September, I could get like some fruit pastels and put them in like an inner pocket of my jacket, but they're gonna like search it, maybe. I won't. I had the decency not to sneak food in, and this is how they treat me? Anyway, how was the movie, Captain? You can stop complaining about overpriced snacks now. The movie was fine. I gave it too high a score. I shouldn't have... after thinking about it a little more, I think it's actually really maybe a 3.5. No, it's a 4. It's a 4. But I gave it a 4.5. And a heart. And said, I quite like how this film used silence. Scenes building up to when the characters realize something's there have no music. The tension is purely visual. The script isn't great, and there's tons of scenes of the characters having odd dialogue or just being morons. The acting makes up for it most of the time, but some parts they are just too dumb. Still fun regardless, and a great choice of and use of dinosaurs. Would have been a 4-star until the goat showed up and threw a car through a wall and drank a pool of water. I am, of course, talking about the Spinosaurus, which is the best dinosaur, because it's aquatic and a land one. It's cool as hell. It's got a neat, like, dorsal fin, hence the name. It's the best dinosaur, and it's the best dinosaur in this movie. So, yeah, no, not as good as I said it was here. Can you edit reviews? I don't know. Edit review? You can. Alright, so I'm going to say would have been a 3.5. Okay. It didn't update. Damn computers. There we are. Now it's updated. It would have been 3.5. So, there's such odd dialogue in this movie. There's also, I don't want to get into like specific spoilers, but there's a moment where they are faced with a door, and they don't know what's on the other side of the door, but they won't be able to go through the door anyhow if they don't just go through it. But they keep, like, comforting each other, being like, oh no, it'll be okay, while a dinosaur is on their heels running up to them, and they gotta go through the door, which could, like, they're not gonna be able to go through it if they keep standing there comforting. Just go through the door already! They spent like 30, well, 30 is probably a stretch, 20 seconds, I think it's more accurate, just sitting there, like, hugging each other, going like, oh, I'm scared, I'm scared. Go through the door, you're gonna be dead in a second. And as for, like, the weird dialogue, there's like, and I'm... One of the major plot points is the kid is, like, scared for his dog being killed. And I'll give the kid some leeway in that, you know, he's in a pretty stressful situation. The dog is a source of comfort for him. It's gone, so he's desperate to have it back. But it's like, there are dinosaurs killing your neighbors. And you couldn't just wait. And I don't know, he's like such an annoying character, but it's like you can't quite blame him because he's going through quite a lot. But it's like, if you could just stop and think, or maybe be a little bit more competent, I think I'd like you more. And as for the dialogue, which I keep thinking of stupid moments the characters do in this. So there's a scene where they're, like, discovering what's happened to them. And there's this, like, water is coming out of this, like, geyser. And he says, instead of, like, touching the water or something, he's like, oh, this is hot water. And I'm paraphrasing. But he says something like that, to that effect, of, oh, it's hot. Like, that's like the first draft of the script, and they kept the line as is. No one went through and made it sound like a human being would say this line. They just kept it with what they wanted to get across, instead of just, I don't know, instead of just changing it. So that stuck out to me. I can't say too much else without spoiling it. But yeah, it was good. I liked it. What else? I also watched, this one was just for I wanted to go to the theater and watch something. Been a while since I wanted to watch, like, a new movie. Like, between Backrooms, I think the last one I saw was Barbie in, like, 2000 and whenever the hell Barbie was going on. 2023? Maybe 4? I don't know. Who cares? So I just wanted to go to the theater again. But this one was my pick for the week, which was Who Framed Roger Rabbit? And I gave this 5 stars and a heart, and said, on top of being well-written, on top of being a well-written and funny noir, it also happens to be the most impressive animated movie of all time. Now, I hear some of you going, well, Captain, it can't be an animated movie if 70% of the movie is, but it is the most impressive animated movie of all time. The cartoon characters are picking up real plates, they're picking up real guns, they're spitting real water, they're reflecting real light, they're interacting with real actors, and it's incredibly impressive to the point where it is the most impressive animated movie of all time. Okay? The reason I wanted to watch this again, on top of it being, like, a good movie, is I recently watched a documentary on the making of it, and was like, oh wow, that's how they did that. They used animatronics, and then they, like, animated over them. And it was pretty interesting. I quite liked that. I found that pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I found it pretty interesting. Yeah, whatever. Have any water? I have a sip of water. Isn't that dandy? I gotta remember to refill this damn thing. I also gotta remember to charge my phone more. I'll, like, wake up to my alarm and it's at like 1%. And if I like had gone to bed a little later, it would have been like 0. It would have been dead, and it wouldn't have woken me up. So I gotta make a habit of refilling my water bottle and charging my phone, which is at full right now. So I don't know if to do that now. All fine and dandy. I'm now struggling also to think. I didn't think of do I have anything written down? I've not checked my. I think I had some stuff at work that I didn't mention last time. Nothing written down. Mention a dream? I don't know. I've not had that. I've had a few dreams, but I never wrote them down. But I did have a dream a while ago. Let's see if I can dig that up. Jeez-a-loo, I did not like the heat. Every third entry in here is me complaining about how hot it is. I don't intend for other people to read my journal, because it's my journal. But if they did, they'd be like, wow, this guy complains about like one thing and one thing only. Okay. Trying to find a place. Had another dream. Not sure if I want to write the whole thing. Maybe just the main parts. I was in the sewers. I'm gonna see. Hang on. This was July 6th. So I want to see how much of it can I recall on my own, and how much of it do I need to read. So I recall leaving part of the dream out because I was like waking up and wanted to go get a cup of tea. I didn't want to write the entire goddamn thing. So I just did like the brass tacks. So this is not normally how it goes. However, the last dream I spoke about, where it was like primarily dark, just dark, and then gradually got lighter, and orange and white was like primarily used in the setting. But I don't think color comes up that often in my dreams. But with this, it was purple. Everything was a shade of purple. And that was mentioned by the people in the dream. They were like, oh yeah, he's like, the water is purple, the stone is purple, the sky is purple. There's a specific type of style that this is called that I can't think of, but you know how I know of it? Through Mario Odyssey. There's a photo mode where I really wish I could put up an image or something to like further explain this. But it's like, imagine an image of a forest, say, and the foreground is near black but purple. This isn't the dream, I'm just trying to explain the style of how it looked. Foreground is black near purple. The, like, middle of that is a dark purple, and then the further it gets from the camera into the background is near white but still purple. So it gets lighter and lighter as it goes along. There's a filter in Mario Odyssey where you can have it look like that. And I remember taking pictures of that when I was a kid, of that style. I tried to get nice backgrounds. But it looked like that. Everything wasn't a solid color like it was in that specific style, but it was very reminiscent of that. But we were in this like canyon town. Like, two examples, both video games, so not that helpful. But there's a part in Resident Evil 4 where you're going through this canyon, and there's like a town built on stilts. And there's also a part in, I think it's near Replicant. Yeah, that's the other one. And that's a whole other bag of worms that I don't want to get into right now. The difference between like near Replicant and near Autonomo. We don't have time for this, okay? I'm just trying to get a visual setup of the damn dream. It's a town in a giant canyon, but it's not at the base of the canyon. It's at like the midpoint to the top of the canyon, and it's very precarious, and it's just like built onto the wall like a birdhouse, kind of. So that there's this town that we're in, and it's above this huge canyon, and it's like it's think of like a cliff edge. That's where some of the town is. Then into the rock, there's a sewer system, and then it like drains through a pipe into the canyon. And then on the face of the canyon, near where the pipe exits, there's also like the rest of the town. So I think they were like kind of like elves. Again, kind of Keebler elves. They looked like that. They had like pointed hats and pointy ears, and they were short. And I think I stole something. And they put me in this like diving bell. Well, it wasn't like a diving bell. It was like a shark cage. And I got lowered into the sewer. But I was in a scuba suit as well. And yes, water is in the dream. All right, it's in all my dreams. But it was like knee-high water. And there was this like sludge monster who was this very light purple, and the sewer were very like dark purple. So it was pretty easy to tell where it was. And he was hunting me. And I was going through like I don't think there was a goal. I think it was just an execution. Like I was being killed by the monster. And like me getting out was like oh, you're alive. Well, we've never really had this happen before. I think I survived because I wasn't like 2 feet tall, and I could actually run. So I survived the creature, and it like came out of the, like I leapt off the pipe that like drained into the canyon, and landed on like a bridge in the stilt town. And they're like, oh, And then the creature also did that, but because he's made of slime, only like his hand grabbed the bridge, and then the rest of him just fell into the canyon. And they're, well, I guess we can't kill people now. And then the dream ended, but I remember there were like a bunch of shopping carts in the sewer. Like people were just throwing trash down there. So, let's see. I was in the sewers in scuba gear, huge tunnels, shin-high water and junk everywhere, mostly metal, shopping carts, cans, springs. It was also purple. Everything in my eyes had... everything in my eyes had gel on them. I was sneaking around this huge guy that was covered in, like, slime or something. I let him see me, but in a way he wouldn't know that I knew he saw me. So not reading anymore, just trying to make sense of what I wrote here. I remember that. Yeah, no, I wanted him to start chasing me, but I didn't want him to know I was letting him chase me. So I think maybe that was my plan. I planned to get him to jump. I let him see me, but in a way that he wouldn't know that I knew he saw me. Don't know why. He wanted to kill me, and I wanted to escape. I was in there as a penalty. More water in my dreams and then the others. I also did a drawing of it. I used purple ink, but I drew myself on a regular, like, black ink. Alright, that's interesting. Another thing I noticed in my dreams, so obviously there's water in there, but all the water seems to be... It seems to have, like, kind of a purpose of entertainment. Like, with the tower dream, it's a pool with the the pier dream. It's a pier. That's where the fun house is. With this, it's kind of like a spectacle. Like they send people to die. I mean, I don't think they would see it unless they didn't have cameras in there. But I don't know. I seem to dream about water, and then the water seems to have some kind of focus on entertaining. So, I wonder if me, going into entertainment has anything to do with that. We'll have to get Sigmund Freud on the phone for this one. What do you mean he's busy? Busy doing what, being dead? Alright. Nothing else comes to mind now. Number of games I want to play, and specifically stream. Like I mentioned I'm streaming later. I should really do streams where I do the bets. I've mentioned doing that, but there are some games where it would just benefit from being like a stream instead. I also want to do, I don't know. I guess I just don't have the time to it. I'm busy animating and I gotta go to class soon. So maybe I'll do that later. Do it over like a break. That sounds alright. I do a bunch of streaming when I'm not in school. I'm not in school now when I'm busy animating. I'll still be busy animating then, but maybe I'll be less busy in animating. Oh well, time will tell. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.